This is where I am. That's a blue dot. That's me. That's Los Angeles. If I zoom in, I'm not going to dox myself, please. Let me zoom back and tell you about a time when I used to live in Melbourne. Now, Melbourne is a big city. It's got a lot of different areas, different suburbs. I used to live in the downtown section, but I also lived in this place called South Yarra, right here. Lovely little communities all around here. Unbeknownst to me at the time, there was a major UFO sighting that predated my stay there by several decades. 1966 in Westall, right here, at these schools. This is the Grange, where one of the UFOs, a couple of them, went over here and landed and singed the grass. All the kids, several hundred of them, freaked out, looked at it, saw it for 20 minutes. So this is where we're talking about. It's a small community, a little bit inland, just southeast of the city center. Near the airport, notably, and that's where they suspect all the Cessnas came out to try to chase the UFOs away. Didn't work. Kind of did. I've presented to you many witness accounts of what happened all those years ago. Those kids are now grandparents. They presented their story. There's been a documentary. They meet up every year. Anniversaries come and go. We just had the 60th anniversary. Now, for some people, and I'm fully aware that this is an extraordinary claim, and yes, 180 grandparent eyewitness accounts from totally credible, believable, grounded, trustworthy human beings in their 70s and 80s, yes, that is very compelling. But we are a visual species. We use our eyes quite a bit. We trust them. We got to see it to believe it. And so I want to tell you about one of the things that happened that day. While the entire school, the student body, ran out onto the oval and looked up at the flying saucers, the chemistry teacher took the one camera at the school, grabbed it, and started snapping photos.
Everyone started moving, like a whole lot of zebras being terrified by crocodiles. I went where the herd went. Barbara Robbins was the chemistry teacher at the time. And she just grabbed a camera and started clicking. I was prepped to tell the students that what they'd seen didn't exist. We weren't allowed to leave the school, at least I wasn't. My job was to walk up and down the corridors and make sure that all students were in their rooms. I was walking back from the West End. There was a confrontation between Mr. Sambleby, Barbara Robbins, and a man I'd never seen before. I thought it was a police uniform, but it was just dark blue. It was demanded that she hand over not the film, but the entire camera.
Those photos, that camera, and that film was taken by the military, by the government. Someone has that. Someone developed that film. Those pictures exist somewhere, and that irritates me on a very profound level. And if you want to talk about disclosure and revealing the truth about what we are experiencing and what those kids saw, and farmers and teachers back in '66, someone, for the love of God, please release those pictures. Because the chemistry teacher took those shots, and now they have been lost into the dust of history. The problem is, with the little government cover-up job that was taking place there, it pretty much worked. Everyone was shamed into silence and told that you'll be mocked, ostracized, punished, vilified. You'll ruin your life if you talk about these UFOs. It's not going to help you. And it was just a thing that happened, and then tomorrow came, and then the next day, and years went by, and now it's just a story, just an urban myth. Did it really even happen? And with those pictures gone, do we have any corroborating evidence that this was even a real thing? I mean, 180 eyewitnesses is pretty good. It's pretty good. But can we have something else? Can we get more? What the government and the military failed to realize, and they could never have known, is that 4 days before Westall took place, in this town, a suburb called Baldwin, closer to the city center, and just north of Westall, there was a young man, an engineer, called James Kibble. He was 25 years old, and he was visiting his parents' house. He decided to finish a roll of Polaroid film. It was old film. It was about 2 years old, the film, so a little bit outdated, a little bit not in the best condition. So he thought, I might as well finish this roll. He's in the backyard when all of a sudden, a light sweeps across his eyes. He sees something. It catches his eye. He goes, what was that? He looks up, and hovering right in front of him is a UFO. Silver, metallic. It looks like a desk bell. So, like, I don't know how else to describe this. You go to a hotel and you want to ring a bell to get someone's attention. It's a little bit passive aggressive. You got ding, 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 ding. They have them at delis, or, some restaurants might have them. It was like that, but as big as a station wagon. So like a car and a half of a bell, a silver bell, that you would have, and yet it's sitting there and it's reflecting light and it's hovering and it has no wings and there's no propulsion. So he sees that, and I'm sure he went through what all the other witnesses described, which is like, oh, maybe I'm having a mental breakdown. Maybe I'm not seeing this. How could this be real? It can't be real. What is that? So process of elimination, I am probably in the wrong. I think there's something there. It's not there. It's a projection. It's a hologram. Hold on. It's reflecting light at me. It's clearly there. I can see it. I'm staring at it. This is not a fleeting encounter. It's literally just hovering right above me. So in that moment, he, in a panic, grabs his Polaroid camera, which were big and clunky. I mean, they were quite large back then. He pulls it to his face, smashes his nose, doing damage to his face, but does manage to snap a picture. He snaps the picture while the craft had tilted its axis and went up on its side. It went vertical. So typically horizontal, it went vertical. And right after it went vertical, and after he took that Polaroid, it shot off at a rate of speed that is Mach whatever. Mach, your face is melted. The way he describes it was like it was shot out of a gun. Okay, so faster than a speeding bullet. A lot faster, by the way. James Kibble took that Polaroid, developed that Polaroid on the spot, which is what Polaroid cameras do. He went to his friend who was there with him. I think he was working on some construction of some kind. He said, "Did you not see that thing?" And the guy's like, "No, what?" He goes, "I took a picture of this thing. There was a thing hovering in the air. I have no idea what it was. Let's look at the picture." Both men witnessed the picture. He called the police. He filed a report. This was all documented. And this was 4 days before. It just so happens that hundreds of students at Westall, and teachers, and farmers saw a craft that looks just like what James Kibble took a photo of.
As I was looking at it, the colouring changed, becoming translucent at the same time. I didn't believe it because it couldn't be happening.
I saw what I saw, and so did all my school friends, hundreds of us. It was unidentified, it was flying, and it was clearly an object. It wasn't a mirage, so it got referred to as a UFO, an unidentified flying object, because it met all those three criteria. A lady named Mrs. Robbins, she was my science teacher, she came out with a camera and started taking photos.
And all of a sudden, all these little planes come flying through. We were used to planes because of being so close to Moorabbin Airport. And anyway, they fly in and they get near the saucers. The saucer would just go straight up in the air. And it was like they were playing cat and mouse with them, honestly. It was quite amazing to watch.
A few of us girls were on the fence and we were crying, thinking it was the end of the world. Total hysteria. It was just incredible.
It just raised up off the ground really slowly, just kept on rising to probably about 3 or 4 metres, maybe a bit higher, and then it turned on its side and just almost just disappeared, just went straight up like that. And I looked up in the sky and I could see the other two. So it appeared to just disappear.
According to the witnesses, the people who were there, it left at least one, some say several, rather large, perfectly round-shaped circles in the grass with a very definite indentation, a very definite perimeter to the grass, as if the perimeter had somehow been singed or discoloured.
What I want you all to do is to try and draw, as best as you can, what you saw that day.
Okay.
And no peeking.
The witnesses gave descriptions that were pretty consistent. You have to remember, people were standing in different places at different times, but for the most part, they gave descriptions that tallied with each other.
And what did they say they saw?
They say they saw a flying saucer.
It's like a silvery thing like this, and it had like little lights around it. All lights underneath it around here, around the edges.
It gave a lot of witnesses the sense that there was some intelligence behind it. They say that because it flew effortlessly, it flew virtually silently, it could go wherever it wanted. And for the witnesses who saw 5 very regular-looking aircraft like Cessnas flying close to the object, as if the planes were trying to chase the object and catch up to it, the craft very easily, completely outflew those aeroplanes.
How many witnesses have you interviewed in the 16 years that you've been researching this who actually saw the craft?
I think at last count, because I've had a few witnesses come forward just in the last few weeks, and I get new witnesses coming forward, probably one every couple of months. But at the moment, I think I'm up to somewhere around 180.
180 people?
Something like that. A very similar number to that, and more who saw the traces that were left behind, apparently, by the craft on the ground.
According to James Kibble, and he's in the film, he said the disc was kind of coming down like this over his garden, and he had his Polaroid camera he was going to take pictures of.
Were you doing the same wobbling kind of motion with your hand?
I'm just telling you what he told me, yeah. Okay. He said it was kind of wobbling down like a leaf, kind of. And then he was like, holy shit, and he grabbed his Polaroid camera, and he said he did it so quickly, he smashed it in his face, and he split his nose open, but he snapped one shot. And he said what it did is it went like this. Which
turned sideways.
The photograph that I have shows it sideways, and I'll show it to you. I scanned it from the original Polaroid, and then it shot off at an unbelievable rate of speed, according to him.
Exactly how Lazar describes how these things work.
Okay, and Rogan picked up on that, and that is the topic of another video because it deserves its own video. The fact that these crafts go up on their side and go vertical, which makes no sense. Okay, that's aerodynamically not congruent with everything we know about flight, put it that way. But it's operating obviously with a different tech, a technology that was described to a T precisely by Bob Lazar. Okay, not just one element of what Bob Lazar described. The style of motion, the instantaneous acceleration, teleporting-like motion, that was described by Bob, and the thing going vertical when it wants to travel long distances. That was described by Bob. Now, Bob described that in 1989 and the following years. He could not have known and did not know about the description of the motion of the Westall UFO event from 1966 because no one knew about it. The world didn't know about it. It was a local story. The Yahoo group that the guy made, Shane Ryan, was in 2005, where the witnesses started to gather together in what became a Facebook group. That led to a documentary in 2010. The story still has no traction. That documentary was seen by next to nobody. You barely have heard about the Westall UFOs, and it's 2026. Okay, the minutia of the details of the motion described by the witnesses of a UFO event that no one has heard about was not known by Bob Lazar, some nerd rocket scientist, like wannabe physicist, in 1989. He had no idea about that. So, in other words, him talking about crafts going vertical before shooting off into outer space, either that is the luckiest guess in the world, or he's onto something. You know, likely, little spoiler alert, they're both telling the truth. The hundreds of eyewitnesses who said it went vertical and shot off like it was shot out of a gun, they're not lying. And Bob Lazar saying, well, the craft, look, I don't know about everything, but the craft I worked on, it would go up on its side before shooting off into distant travel. That's when it wanted to scoot into outer space. And he called that delta formation. That's the delta formation of the gravity amplifiers, not Omicron, delta. They came up with the whole, look, he's on the record having said that. He is being confirmed by the eyewitnesses in Westall. And Rogan has figured that out. So like a broken clock, a broken meathead is right twice a day. This was one of those times for Joe, who still doesn't think we landed on the moon. I like that.
The Earth is flat is the ones where I just shake my head like...
The moon landing one's my favorite.
Really?
I got balls deep in that for years. I was completely
So you
convinced.
think they did not go to the moon?
No, I don't think that anymore. Okay. But you know what I think now? I think I don't know.
Okay.
But I do think that it is one of the more fascinating conspiracies that between 1969 and 1972, they had seven attempts,
You're fired. And in case your ears are fucked, get the fuck out!
So, would you like to see this picture? Well, first of all, please understand this. James Kibble didn't really want attention. He doesn't want to be seen as a weirdo, as a psycho, as the UFO guy. He's just like, look, I'm an engineer. Don't blame me. Do not blame the messenger. Do not blame the Polaroid taker. I don't want this to adversely affect my life. He felt that way to the point where the first time he ever talked about this in public, on camera, was 50 years later. No joke. It took him 50 years. It was an anniversary special on an Australian news show. I went and dug through, did the research, found this special, and even on this special, he didn't want his face to be revealed. So he is hiding his identity because he doesn't want to be mocked by, I don't even know who, his grandkids, the people at the senior center. He's like, I still don't want this adversely affecting my life. So James Kibble went onto the show to talk about this photo. And here is that appearance.
It came down sort of sideways as far as I could tell.
Now the man who took this controversial picture speaks for the first time in 50 years, exclusively on Studio 10, tomorrow.
Well, today marks 50 years since 200 people claimed to have seen a UFO in Westall, Victoria. Since then, those witnesses haven't been able to get any answers about what happened that day. In fact, it would seem government officials have worked hard to make sure no one ever finds out. So what happened, and more importantly, what are they trying to hide? Ida Buttrose has this Studio 10 special investigation.
A UFO encounter witnessed by 200 students and teachers.
I was transfixed and had to stand there for quite a while to comprehend what I was looking at because I'd never ever seen anything like that before.
Almost immediately, those voices are intimidated into silence.
Keep your mouth shut, just obey what you're told. If you don't, you get yourself in a lot of serious trouble.
Their stories ridiculed.
Something happened. Something actually happened, and we're not idiots.
And every document relating to those events destroyed.
I think there probably were documents. Somebody's done a bit of hoovering.
But one photo taken during that time remains. It's a Polaroid photo that's been tested by a scientist from the CSIRO.
I don't know why that news show decided to show it black and white and zoomed in like that. I mean, that's a very degraded version of the Polaroid, and we have better copies. This is the picture. This is what it looks like. Okay, so you will, by the way, never look at those little bells you have at hotels in the same way, ever again. Every time I see those things, I'm like, oh look, it's a little baby UFO. I've created my own AI slop, animating those bells. Here we go, here it is taking off. Looks pretty realistic. Turns to its side. Yeah. Turns out life is a little bit weird. I'm not sure if you've noticed that yet. That's a fun one. Not exactly true to life, but I mean, you get the idea. Okay, it was slightly faster than that. And it didn't make that sound. But these are just fun.
Testing concluded the photo was untouched and has verified its authenticity. The man behind that photo hasn't spoken for 50 years. Today, he will break his silence exclusively on Studio 10. What happened in Westall, Victoria on April 6, 1966? Did students and teachers have an encounter with aliens? Honestly, that I don't know. What I do know is something happened that day, something our government has refused to talk about. It's the photo that divides skeptics and believers, taken 4 days before the events of Westall, where 200 people claim they saw a UFO in the skies over Victoria.
Certainly during 1966, Australia had a really intense period of UFO activity.
The man who took this picture has refused to talk about it for 50 years, but has now chosen to break his silence on Studio 10. Why do you still feel the need to be anonymous?
Because anybody that sort of has anything to do with UFOs is immediately officially classified as some kind of nutcase. I need that like a hole there, to be quite honest. I didn't want to publicise in the first place.
And that's certainly true. It took a lot of persuasion to get James to talk to us.
I had some film in the Polaroid camera, old film. It was just about to take a picture of the thing, and this tremendous flash of light. I looked up and I saw this thing coming, and I just went click, just, immediately, and I hit myself on the nose with the camera.
So you saw a flash of light, but what else did you see? What does it look like?
Well, when I looked up, I briefly saw what it looked like. I took the picture. The bottom of it was round. It came down sort of sideways, as far as I could tell. It had a dome on the top, and then it turned around, and I could see the bottom, and it appeared to be rotating. And then it sort of gave a hop. It just went to the north like it'd been shot out of a catapult. There was a fellow working at the front of the house. He looked up, he saw a flash of light, but he didn't see it. But I rushed over and I pulled the picture out of the camera. And just as we were doing that, there was this tremendous boom, like something going through a sound barrier type thing. And it was perfectly clear sky. There wasn't any clouds or anything.
And that's an interesting side point, which we really can't make sense of. The fact that he heard what he's describing as a sonic boom in the immediate aftermath of that thing shooting off. I mean, we don't know what that is, and it's noteworthy because these things do not create sonic booms. Infamously, they don't make that sound, and they have figured out some way. I have no idea how, but clearly they're going so fast, it's like a hot knife through butter, and maybe if you do it fast enough, there is no sonic boom. I'm not sure about the details, okay? I'm not a scientist, but the people that saw the Tic Tacs report no sonic booms. Everyone at Westall do not report sonic booms. So the fact that he is reporting that is interesting and weird, and I leave it there.
Just this enormous bang.
When you look at that superficially, one's initial reaction, if you're not acquainted with the details of the event, is that you think, oh, it's got to be a hoax, it's far too clear.
Bill Chalker is regarded as being one of the most credible UFO researchers in the world and believes James has credibility.
When you appreciate the nature of the event and the circumstances under which it's photographed, and the nature and background of the witness, who I've known now since about 1988, he comes across as a very compelling witness. Has no reason why he'd fake a photograph of this nature. He'd have more to lose because he was part of a large business family. He was an experienced business player, well-respected, involved in a lot of different business activities. Very impressive witness.
Hold on. His witness account is not what we're here for. Okay, yes, he witnessed the UFO, and he just told you about it. But we have literally 180 other accounts that happened 4 days later. So that's just account number 181. And if you were not convinced by the previous 180 accounts, number 181 is not going to do it for you. What he is providing is a photo, a Polaroid image taken that the feds, the government, the military, could not get their hands on. They would have had no idea. They were not on the scene. This was unbeknownst to them. And if 4 days later you have a mass sighting at a school, how on earth is the government supposed to know that 4 days earlier some random guy took a Polaroid and has that Polaroid? And by the way, his Polaroid was stolen. So he has copies, he has prints of it that were made, but the original was stolen from his house. So eventually, the men in black are running around doing stuff, and they're trying their best, but it did not work. Now, that man just suggested, he said, look, I know this guy, he's real credible, it's very compelling. I don't think he faked it. So now we have to go through this little mental exercise of, was this faked? First of all, do you know how hard it is to fake a Polaroid? Today? Well, Photoshop and all that, but no, we're talking about a print. In 1966, to fake a Polaroid is a damn near impossibility. He has eyewitnesses and a police report about the picture at the time. He has the picture. He has the prints. This is not something that you fake. There's no superimposing. First of all, there's no, motivation, reasoning, incentive to do this, nor is there know-how or any plausible way in which he would have done this, could have done this. It just doesn't make sense. Then you have this man in his 70s, waiting 50 years and still hiding his face, begrudgingly telling you about what he saw 50 years ago. You're telling me that's a guy who faked that? For what possible reason. So the is it fake thing, we're going to still discuss it. We're going to still dive into that because there have been shows dedicated to the idea that this was fake. One of the people, the nerds on Reddit, they were trying to claim, oh, I think it's fake. Because they're studying the reflection. Oh, can you see the chimney of his house in the thing? Yes, it looks like it. But then look, there's a different coloration. And it's like a jagged line here. You see this, it looks like someone spilled coffee on this picture. And so because there is a different tonal quality to this top bit, I'm saying that this was a composite and somehow magically on the fly, do it yourself for no reason and without motivation, and 4 days prior to a mass UFO sighting, you happened to fake a UFO pic that just happened to match the description of hundreds of witnesses days later. So what turns out what this is just emulsion. So it's the liquids used, the chemicals used in a Polaroid to process the film. And the film in question was old, and the camera does not produce a perfect print, and so this is just the mess up of printing a Polaroid in 1966. And it's neither here nor there, and this is not an advanced fakery technique at all, and this actually adds to the legitimacy and authenticity of the picture. Now, the thing that's weird about this is not a light in the sky. This is not unclear. This is broad daylight and right in front of the guy, and it's clear as day. And the thing was not in motion, so there's no motion blur. You got a clear Polaroid picture, and people are always asking, like, where's the real evidence? Where's it's right here? That's it, right there. Now, we're going to continue watching James Kibble talk about this, but wait till you start to see the doozy of it all is the drawings from the eyewitnesses, what they drew, and how it matches that. That station wagon-sized bell in the sky that's hovering there vertically right before it shot off. Why do you think the drawings that the witnesses of the Westall UFO drew, and they're drawing now in their 70s, why do you think those drawings match that? How do you explain that? Please reverse engineer that for me. But you'll see it for yourself.
Now, you had the photograph verified by someone at CSIRO.
That was a Dr. Burson, who's, I believe, has since passed on. And he, like everybody else, he was rather shocked by the photo.
Studio 10 has obtained a copy of that report. It says the Polaroid photograph and its enlarged copy show no sign of a multiple exposure, montage, or any other tampering. But there are still skeptics. So, your Polaroid photograph, there's a fair bit of controversy about it. There's a cold case investigation going on at the moment to just decide whether or not it's authentic.
One of the big arguments that the Americans brought up, they analysed the photo, said, oh, well, you can see how it's been pieced together. Well, the reason is the emulsion on it is streaky in one part because it was a very old film. That's why I took it out. I might as well use that film up in the garden.
Yeah.
And a very old film, it's about 2 years out of date, and it deposited quite some of the emulsion on the film. It had to be virtually peeled off. And it's not pieced together. I had that examined in America, and they know full well it's not peeled off. It's not fitted together or anything like that.
In an interesting twist, James says his house was broken into, and the only thing stolen was that original Polaroid. But you've got a copy.
I've got a copy.
Australia has never witnessed anything like the events of 1966. If these multiple UFO sightings are to be believed, for a short period of time, our country essentially became the UFO capital of the world.
Oh, give it a rest, Australia. Look at Australia trying to flex like we were relevant for a moment. It's like, shut up. We're talking about a human story here. This is bigger than the frigging 100-year-old nation state of Australia. Fuck. So, as I mentioned, the eyewitnesses drew pictures of what they saw, which is very informative. Now, some people are not as good artistically as others, and it varies widely, and people have different perspectives. They saw it from different angles. Their experiences were different. But I want you to see if you can notice a net trend with some of these drawings, and we're going to talk about which witnesses saw what, and how that pertains to where they were, why some are more valuable than others, and what did they draw? What does it look like?
The footy season had just started. Me and all my mates were out on the oval, and all of a sudden we all looked up, and there's this object going slowly across the sky.
I just shrieked, there's a flying saucer. There's a flying saucer outside. And pupils just stood up and off they went.
And it was just humming. It was just sitting there and humming. And I couldn't believe it.
I was just transfixed because I'd never seen anything like that before. It was amazing.
And I thought, no, it's not an aeroplane, no engines, nothing. It's just sitting above the power lines in the sky.
I was mesmerised. I was just staring at them moving around. They were like a shape of a saucer and they flew.
The significance of the Westall case is the sheer volume of first-hand eyewitnesses saying the same thing that they did 60 years ago. That's a very compelling case.
What frustrates me, and I think all the other pupils, is the attempts of having it buried. Could we just find out what it was, please? That's all we want.
This is what I saw.
That's what I saw.
Bro. This is low-key. Let me speak in your language. Low-key, that's freaking crazy that they drew those pictures and how much that matches the Polaroid. Now, let's go through just that. So I'm going to put up James Kibble's Polaroid here in the bottom left, just so you can compare and contrast. Already that shape is exactly what we're talking about. Now, this dude, he just drew a straight-up circle. I mean, this dude's drawing stick figures. He actually did a pretty good rendition of the power lines, but you could even tell from his drawing, he's looking at it from the oval. So he's just looking up, and he draws it as a circle because he's seeing it from underneath. So he doesn't see the domed top. That's a view from under. And you could tell by just the way, like he's saying, look, I'm here, I'm on the ground, I'm looking up at an angle. So you're seeing an oblong, well, you're seeing a circle from an angle. And that's Tanya. Tanya, she was the one that ran. She was the first girl to run to the Grange. She saw that thing up close. She's the one that passed out and everything, but she actually can draw. And this one is just a spot on drawing that matches the Polaroid. Okay, so Joy Clark, look at that. Look at it. Look-itty doo-dah. What the freaking hell? It's shaped like a bell. It's shaped like a hat. That is a fat slug or snail. It is a bedazzled hat. Many people saw lights on the bottom. That is described by a multitude of the witnesses. You can't really see that in the Polaroid, but it's daytime. Maybe the lights were not on or apparent from that viewpoint. I don't know. But are you seriously telling me that you don't see the similarity here? So explain to me, what are the odds? What are the odds that a guy took a picture of a huge metallic UFO hovering over his backyard 4 days before in a neighboring suburb? What are the odds that that would match what these people are drawing and showing you in their 70s? I mean, dude. And that's Terry Peck, and Terry Peck has the same lights, same domed top. Hers is a little bit more elongated and flattened out, but that's just her memory of it. And this is, by the way, what you would expect. If you had a bunch of 70-year-olds, hey, draw a picture of the local neighborhood dog from your childhood that you all grew up with, you would find equally different drawings of that dog. So the fact that there are differences with these recollections, these visual representations, is not significant. It's actually normal and to be expected. It's the net similarities of what they are artistically describing to us. And to compare it, and look at Marilyn. Marilyn drew that same picture. That was in the original newspaper. It's a terrible picture, okay, but it's generally the same shape. Okay, it's like, and I don't know what her little things at the bottom are. You'll notice in the Polaroid there is some sort of thing on the bottom of that object. It's not landing gear, but other people have reported there being 3 things underneath the UFO. There was reports that when the grass had been trampled, it was done so in a way where the grass had been spun, rotated clockwise. So it wasn't just trampled, it was twisted. And within the depression of grass, there were 3 spots. So it's as if it has 3 gravity amplifiers underneath it, which is, by the way, what Bob Lazar and his UFOs had. They had 3 gravity amplifiers. So she might be showcasing that, but again, she is not the best artist. Neither is Paul. Now, this is the farmer, Paul, who saw this thing in the sky, and that's his best rendition of it. Fair? It kind of looks like his head. Sideways. Maybe he is the UFO. And then look at Tanya. Look at Tanya drawing this metallic mushroom with a little black thing on the bottom, just like the Polaroid. It's the same freaking shape. Unbelievable. And there are others, and I've collected them. This is another rendition that Joy Clark made at another time, a different year, and it looks just like the Polaroid. So go talk to Joy Clark. She's done a million interviews on this. Here's one that somebody drew from another angle. There's Terry Peck. She's just getting loose drawing this. It's not, I think she wanted that to be symmetrical, but it didn't quite turn out that way. Okay, this is another witness account. This was Joy, another attempt she did at some sort of a meetup. It matches. They're all describing the same thing, and they all got together and did some drawings. Seems fun. Okay, so this is a drawing a guy named Bill Chalker did, who's not a witness, but he was listening to the account of Victor Zachary.
To witness the rest of this video, sign up at censored.tv. Be sure to use the coupon code ROOM to get 20% off. Or you can head over to subscribestar.com/atheism and join up to receive every full-length new video Devon makes. It barely costs anything to sign up. You know he deserves your support, and you deserve to be entertained by every new video AIU creates. So become a flying monkey and let's go.